Alex, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, to get things started off, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you first got started writing?
So I am Hallee Bridgeman. I live in Kentucky. I actually live in Fort Knox, Kentucky. I'm an Army wife, and my husband is joining us tonight.
Oh, okay.
He's in the audience. I started writing after I had a dream. I was 27 years old, and it was the Y2K phenomenon, and my company had recomputerized the entire office and asked if I wanted one of the old ones. And so I took it home with me, and it was New Year's Eve, 1999. And I woke up in the middle of the night after having had the weirdest dream, and I just started typing it. And 6 weeks later, I had a romantic suspense novel that I have later edited to the nth and published as A Melody for James. So that was the beginning of my writing process. Until then, I had never dreamed of writing. I was a voracious reader. And I thought, well, that was weird. That'll never happen again. And it was like this idea floodgate opened in my brain, and I'll never write fast enough.
Well, what do you think was that key trigger then? I mean, if you've been a voracious reader, you said you'd never had that inclination before. I mean, what was it that took it from, the sleeping dream to, oh my gosh, I have to put this down on paper?
I think it was God turning it on for me. Like he had a specific mission for me. And it is I have a mission statement that I write under, an umbrella I write under. And I believe that was God just prepping me for what was coming.
Mm-hmm. And was there a challenge with that then? Because I think that's something a lot of people sometimes struggle with everyone here is a voracious reader. And I know we get questions sometimes, well, are you a writer? It's like, well, I don't have the ideas, or, and they're looking to what is it that takes it to that next step. So did you have people wondering, like, what are you doing now? What was behind this? Or
I know that I sent it to my mom. My mom is also a voracious reader. I grew up, so I'm an Army brat, but we had a length of time where we lived in the Pacific Northwest, which is where my parents are from. And so for this gem of a time period, from the time I was 5 years old until I was 13, as an Army kid, I still lived very, very close to both sets of grandparents. And it was just this jewel time in my life. And so my mom's mom was a voracious reader, and her sister, my Aunt Jackie, was a voracious reader, and their hairdresser, Charlene, was a reader. And my mom and Jackie and my grandma and Charlene would go to the used bookstore, and they would buy these grocery bags full of romance novels, the old white cover Harlequins and the red cover Silhouette Desires and the purple Silhouette, whatever, Intimate Moments or whatever they were. And one of them would fill a bag, and then every time they read them, they would initial the inside, and then they would pass the bag around. And when all the bag got through everybody, then the next person would take them back to the used bookstore and start over again. And so I sent it to my mom blindly. Like, no one knew I was writing. I was getting up at 4 o'clock every morning, and I was just writing until I had to get ready for work at 6. And then I'd go work all day. And I did that 5 days a week. And I didn't tell anybody. And when I was about halfway through the book, I mailed it to my mom didn't even tell her it was coming. She just got this package from me. And then it was a note that said, I'm writing this book. Let me know what you think. And she later admitted that it sat on her counter in the kitchen for like a week because she was afraid to read it, because she was afraid it wasn't going to be any good. And she didn't know what she was going to say to me because she didn't think it was going to be any good, because why would I just write a book? And then I get a phone call at work one day, and I answered it, my normal answering, hello, Cook Brothers, this is Hallee. This is your mother. You need to quit your job, go home and finish that book. And by then I was finished, and I sent her the rest of it, but that was all I needed. Like, that was what I needed, was my mommy saying, you have done a great job. This held me even when I didn't think it was going to. And you need to now focus on that. And 2 years later, I had 10 books written.
Oh, wow.
And I only wrote those 4 to 6 a.m. every day. So,
Well, that's what I was going to ask next was, I mean, what is your typical writing day? So 4 to 6 a.m. every morning?
every morning.
Wow.
I haven't written for a couple of months. Actually, I haven't written much this year. I've written a book this year. I've had a very draining year, good and bad. I had a really good friend die. I had my daughter got married. I had lots of things going on with these books that we're talking about tonight. And so I wrote the prequel, Love in Any Language, but it was, I was kind of out of my norm when I wrote it. And so this year has been unusual, but typically it's every morning, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. I'm writing. And without fail, like,
And I froze.
Yeah, she's frozen up.
And again, the joys of technology. Okay, no, there you are. Okay.
So it's my discipline is 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. And I have a day job. I start my day job at 6 in the morning at my computer. I don't have to get up and go anywhere. 4 days a week, I work 6 a.m. So, and then Friday, 1 day a week, I can keep going if I want to, or go ahead and stop at 6 and have the rest of the day, whatever that looks like. But it requires to do it consistently requires the discipline of doing it every day.
Mhm. With doing it every day like that and having a set regimen, do you find it challenging to get in the mood for writing or to pick up the strings of the story? And also, how do you leave it then? I mean, if you're going full blast, it's like, oh, wait, no, I have to go to my other job
I
now.
actually have to set an alarm.
Really?
Because I go in fiction world and
Mhm.
I'm gone and I can hear it and see it and smell it and taste it and touch it. And I am not presently in my home. And so I have an alarm that goes off at 6 that forces me out of it. To get started, it's not hard for me in the midst of it. What's hard is, like, right now I'm in the beginning, which is developing my characters and planning my plot, and it's this constant, like, there's this always going on in the back of my mind. And to sit down and to the beginning is always the hardest part for me, and then to do the end is the hardest part. But it doesn't, like, once I get started, I can't wait until 4 a.m. I can't wait to get started. I'm lousy at night because I get up at 4, and then I work 10 hours in a day. And so by the time I get done with my day, I am just completely drained. And so I have been under a deadline and written, until 10 or 11 at night, but the next morning I can tell.
Oh, wow.
I can tell I probably should have waited until the next morning to get going.
Well, how do the stories come to you? I mean, you're saying that when you're writing, you're essentially not home. You are off in that world, but you're
Yeah.
also trying to develop the characters. So, I mean, is it a movie that you are seeing in
yeah.
your head and you're just recording it, or are they talking to you, or?
No, they don't talk to me. I see the movie. And I start with my characters. So I don't create the story until I have my characters. And so I think that once my characters are established, and I think in the process of establishing my characters, the movie is starting to, like, build, so that when I sit down to write it, it's just there. And I do it so fast. Like, the first draft, the first round is just action dialogue, because all I'm trying to do is just get out what I can see in my head, what I can hear, what I can smell. I don't waste time trying to set scenes or describe things, or, worrying about anything other than action and dialogue, because that's what I can see and I don't want to lose it.
And then you go back later and fill in the other elements?
I do like 4 passes before I edit. So I go back in, and after I've finished that first draft, which is just action dialogue, then I go in and I set each scene. And then I go in and I add thoughts and feelings and make sure that that I haven't just done plot, 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 plot. Like I'll add an extra scene here, or, filler there, or pull something out that's just, because I've gone so fast. By the time I go back to the beginning, it's almost like I don't even remember what was there at first. And make sure there's no holes anywhere and that I've tied up every end, and then begin the editing process. So I call it writing in layers. I actually teach classes on how to write really quickly because that's how I do it. And so I usually do like 4 passes and then begin, like there's 2 passes with the deep edit.
And I'm always curious how that then translates into a series also. So if you're seeing the characters first before you're developing the rest of the story elements, I mean, how did that come into play then with this series? I mean, where you put out 4 stories, because I'm including the novella there, and they all came out so quickly together. I mean, were you looking at the overall series with that, or was it still very much one story at a time with each set of those characters?
Even the layers, how I said I do action and dialogue first. I did all the books first.
Wow.
So that was one story for me. And the next series that I'm plotting is another Special Forces series, but this will be, all the books will take place in the same event.
Okay.
And so that will be, everyone just has a different
view
part of the event, different piece of the event.
Ah, okay.
And so that one I've already had to plot all of it because it's all the same event, and I couldn't risk writing one without knowing what was going to happen in the other.
Now I have to say though, I love that, because I get so anxious when I talk with authors sometimes and they're writing series and they tell me, oh no, I'm a pantser. And I'm like, but no, you're talking about there's still another 3 books or something. What do you mean you're a pantser? You don't know how this is going to end?
When I used to be a pantser until I wrote a series of 8 books that took place in World War II that were the same event told from 8 different points of view. And each one built on the other, and each one ended in a cliffhanger that built on the next one. And I realized in the middle of plotting it, I had to have all of them plotted, and then I had to like actually write them simultaneously. So I had a couple of computer screens with all these different documents open, because they're the same conversations and the same events happening throughout each of the 8 books. And that broke me of pantsing. Like, it taught me to plot, and it taught me that I could, and how much better it was, how much better my writing was for plotting. And and when I was publicizing that story, it was like, all of them are written, they all have an ending, I promise the series will conclude. It's like, because readers don't want it until they know they're all there. And there's one more coming with this series. There'll be one coming out in February.
Ah, okay. I was thinking that it was just the 4, so we've got a 5th one to look forward
There's
to.
a 5th one, yes.
Awesome. Yes. But we always like, because of course, as readers, we always want more. That's the thing, right?
Especially this series.
And you said that your first story was romantic suspense, and these are, I mean, and I don't want to jump to the assumption being an Army brat and everything. Well, I mean, is that kind of the basis behind why you think you're drawn more toward the romantic suspense, or?
I don't know if it's being an Army brat as much as maybe part of it is that, because my dad is, larger than life hero. And my husband is, he was Special Forces and still serves. And I love strong men who are allowed to be heroes. That's one of the things I love. Like, yesterday I watched Cowboys versus Aliens. Because that's the kind of movie I like. The only thing missing from that movie was a car chase. I mean, you can't beat the cast, you can't beat the plot. It was beautiful, it was wonderful. But that's the kind of movie I like, right? And so I love the hero story. And now I have written contemporary romance, but so many of them have like this sprinkling of suspense in them. Eventually there's something, even in it, like in a contemporary romance series about three sisters, you know, with the heroin addict mom and the billionaire saves the barmaid kind of trope. I have suspense in the last book just because it was almost like I couldn't help myself, but I'm drawn to the suspense. I'm drawn to the hero.
Mhm. Now, we always love that action, like you said, that larger than life aspect of it.
Yeah.
I think those are other elements that just naturally pulls us in as to, okay, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
And you're just rooting for the hero and the heroine, and just to, you know, that's part of what we go back to each time, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, Hallie, I want to switch over to what we call our fresh fiction facts.
Okay.
Okay, so these are meant to be some quick off the top of your head type questions, initial responses type things. Some people say that they're difficult, but we kind of try to cover a couple different things.
Okay.
Okay. Well, and you already answered the pantser or the plotter, so you've got one of those down already.
I'm a hybrid.
Well, being a voracious reader always, who was your first book boyfriend or girlfriend?
Almanzo Wilder.
The Little House.
Wasn't he
yes.
the best?
Yes.
He was. He's my first book boyfriend. And I'll still go pull up These Happy Golden Years and read it.
Mine was always The Long Winter. Because
I
he had
love
to go
it
pick her
because
up,
he
right?
comes, he battled his way through like minus 20 degrees with the horse. He kept having to, like, you know, get the unsuffocate the horse to get to Laura, to get her home because she wanted to come home for the weekend. Dude,
Yep. Yes.
he was the perfect hero. He built her the house with the drawers. I want that kitchen. We
How do
were
you
recently in St. Louis, and my husband and sons went into the arch. I get vertigo really bad, so I waited for them, and I found like Laura Ingalls Wilder family photo album, and I just sat in a corner in their bookstore and read the whole thing. I should have bought it, but I just sat and read it.
Well, there's the Laura Ingalls Wilder Museum.
I
there in
haven't been there
Missouri.
yet, but I know my husband knows it's like on my list, and so I know that eventually we will get there.
Yeah. Yeah. My brother lives in Missouri, so it's kind of like one of those things I have on the list of, okay, when we're looking for some extra things to do that are kind of nearby.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
here are some things that we can go to. And so one of these days, right?
Yep. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
How do you celebrate a new release?
I have a party. I'm having one actually locally next Thursday at a local bakery. And so it's coffee and cake, two of my favorite things. And I get anyone who wants to come comes. I have local friends. I have people I don't even know that will show up, and we'll have a big celebrating party, cut cake, drink coffee, sign books. It'll be wonderful.
Oh, fantastic.
But I do that with every series because I release a lot.
What is your favorite writing fuel? And at writing from 4 to 6 a.m., I can only imagine it involves caffeine.
Well, actually, I have it sitting right here. I didn't know this question was coming, but it just happened because it's on my desk, right? Candied fennel seeds.
I have never even heard of something like that.
They
Candied
taste like
fennel
black
seeds.
licorice,
Oh, wow.
but I can't eat black licorice because black licorice raises your blood pressure.
Oh.
So I'm not allowed to have it. So I eat candied fennel seeds. And I like, there's a little tiny spoon, like a little hors d'oeuvre spoon. And I just kind of pour a little piece in and then I suck on them for a while and then chew them, and it's fennel. It's good for you, actually. And it's like, I don't even realize I'm doing it as I'm writing.
Oh, wow. With whom would you want to be stuck in an elevator?
My husband.
Oh, let's see. Are you just saying that because he's also online?
No,
Okay.
he's absolutely my favorite person on this planet. So if I'm going to be stuck with anyone, it's going to be him, because he doesn't care if I don't talk to him or if I talk to him, you know. Anyone else. Like, I had a horrible moment. You want to talk about a scary moment, which is not the same as dangerous, but a scary moment was standing in an elevator and someone looking at me and saying, "Do you write Christian fiction?" And I was, I don't want to talk to you. I want to get out. Let me out. But yeah, if I was going to be stuck with someone, it would be Greg.
What 3 items would you have on you if you were suddenly stranded?
What I want or what I definitely have because I have it in my purse.
Let's go with what you want.
I would want my Bible.
Mhm.
I would want a filter water bottle. What would be a third thing? I think a notebook, if it had a pen attached to it as a one.
We'll just say it's a set.
A set,
That,
yeah.
that way it
A
counts as one item.
stationary set.
Well, with that, what luxury item or unnecessary product or service can you absolutely not live without?
I would say my British TV subscriptions.
Ooh. Okay, I know there are going to be questions about that in our after hours Q&A. We
Okay.
have a lot of British TV fans, definitely. Okay, well, with your writing schedule and other day job, have to wonder, what is one new hobby or practice that you have picked up recently? I mean, do you have extra spare time?
No, because I'm a Whole Foods cook and do things like grind my own wheat to make my own
Mhm.
bread, and we homeschool our children. So there's very little time for anything extra. And so like I cross stitch and I crochet and etc. But I just don't. Like I asked my husband one time, what does he think life would look like if I didn't write? He said, I think there'd be a lot more projects happening in the house. So no, there's no, my downtime is down. Like I go down. We
Mhm.
take a Sabbath on a Saturday and I, turn on British television and go all the way down. That's how I'm able to do what I do every day.
We've got to be able to unwind. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's
right?
my unwinding. That and wine.
Along those lines, what is the most terrible movie that you legitimately enjoy?
Terrible movie that I enjoy?
Yes, the one that everybody else might pan is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you watched that. But it doesn't matter because you just absolutely love it.
Okay, so here's something about me. My favorite movie of all time, like the most romantic movie I've ever seen, is The Terminator. The original.
Wait, the most
Terminator.
romantic?
I came across Time for You, Sarah.
Okay.
And so,
Okay.
and I was sitting at Romance Writers of America's 35th anniversary thing in Times Square. And there was all these iconic romance authors that were on this video, and they were all given their favorite romantic lines from their favorite movies. And there was all these wonderful lines, like I can't remember any of them now. You had me at hello, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Mhm.
My husband's yelling something, I can't hear him. And someone said, I came across Time for You, Sarah, and I was like, yes, I feel so validated right now. Oh yeah. Greg says from Stay Alive, no matter what occurs, I will find you. From I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, Last of the Mohicans. Yep.
So I'm really bad with names. So that's my favorite movie, and one of my other favorite movies of all time that I can watch, and I have seen it 50,000 times, is Aliens.
Oh yeah,
So,
Aliens is classic.
I love that movie. And so I'm really weird with movies. Like I like action, strong heroes, and I don't care if it's campy as long as I'm able to like sink into it with a suspension of disbelief.
Yes. Yep. Well, that's the sign of a good movie, right?
Right. And it needs a car chase, unless it's cowboys versus aliens, and then there's a good
There are other kinds of chases then.
And things that blow up, like The Rock. The Rock is like, if you're gonna say the epitome of the perfect movie, The Rock would fit. So all three, so Terminator, The Rock, and Aliens all have Michael Biehn in them, so that probably has a lot to do with it too.
Oh, they do. Yes. Yeah. Okay. We see the theme. Yep. What do you own a ridiculous amount of?
Shot glasses.
Really?
Yes,
And do you buy them wherever you go, or?
yes, and
Mhm.
I started getting them when I was 9, because my grandparents took me to the sea lion caves on the coast of Oregon, and I had like $2, and that's what I could afford. I mean, and that began my collection, and I have probably 500 of them. And no matter where I go, if I have never been there, I get a shot glass. So,
And then what do you do with them? I mean, do you have like special cases for them? Because
I
like
have
I
a
collect
shelf.
thimbles, so they have them all on like display
So
shelves.
they used um a media shelf, like where you would put CDs.
Mhm.
So we had several of those before, MP3 players. And so I took 2 of them and doubled up the shelf to where they're just high enough. And so they're all on this about 4 feet, 4 feet wide and maybe 5 feet tall. And it's shelves of shot glasses that sit next to, like, I have a wine cart and I have a bar area, and I have my shot glasses, and we have a bourbon party every year. So we pull the shot glass shelf out and everyone picks a shot glass to taste their bourbon with.
Oh, wow. Which is
Fun.
your favorite?
I think my favorite one is the one that we found in Dubai,
Mhm.
because it's in a Muslim country. And we were so shocked that we found a shot glass in a Muslim country. It was like this precious, I wasn't expecting to find one. I thought I was going to have to make do with something else. And we're in this ridiculously tacky souvenir shop. And in the bottom shelf, underneath all the stuff, I found this one single shot glass. And I was like, is it contraband? What? So it was very cool to find one there.
And are there certain shot glasses that when you're pulling them out, because I'm amazed that you're letting everyone drink out of them.
Yeah.
But do you keep some of them kind of off to the side and say, oh, no, these are the special ones, and
Yeah.
no, we're not going to do this.
One of my husband's best friends was with 20th Special Forces with him in Afghanistan, and he was a cop. And at the World Trade Center in 2001, he bought a shot glass for me. And that one doesn't come out.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. What is the most unnecessary thing that you have ever bought online?
I have a problem with buying planners. Like, here's one, and here's one. Oh, but here's one. I don't know how many I need. I sit in the same spot from 4 a.m. to like 6 p.m. every day. But
No. You rattled off all these different things that you're doing. So I can easily understand why you need to have lots of planners.
I need them. Yes.
Now, I guess the question is, are you actually using the planners? Or is it one of those that, oh, I like that and I need it and I'll use it, or I'll save it for that one project?
Right. Yeah. It would take time to use all of the planners. I have a lot of time. But what I have done is I have learned what I want to do, right? Like, I've taken all the planners, and in my mind, I've developed my planner. And so I even bought like the hole puncher thing to make the planner holes so that I can build my own planner in my spare time.
That way it's fully customized.
Right.
That's it,
I have
right?
all of it on there. Yeah.
Well, Hallee, thanks again for joining us tonight. But tell us first, and before we go into our Fresh Fiction After Party, what is the best way for readers to keep in touch with you and follow and see what else to look forward to?
The best way is my website, halleebridgeman.com. And to keep up with the news about me, sign up for my newsletter, which will give you the prequel to this series. You'll get it for free.
And you said we can look for the next book in this book number
February
2023 then.
Yes, the first Tuesday in February.
Awesome. Great. Well, again, Hallee, thanks for talking with us tonight, and stick around for our after party.
Thank you for having me.